time of the monsoon rains in Central Africa, North Africa, being a desert, waited for the monsoon rains to come to Central Africa, the highlands. And of course, when the rains came, they would overflow the tributaries, flowing northward, which would be downhill into the deserts of North Africa. And the waters would eventually overflood the Nile, so that once a year the Nile Delta would become flooded. And that was a great and terrible tragedy each year. The great flood that came and washed away the Egyptians' world. They called the waters of chaos, for the waters were chaotic and they just went everywhere. And while the waters of chaos were terrible and destructive, they also brought new life. Because without the waters of chaos coming, the deserts would be totally dry and nothing would grow. So they realized that the waters of chaos were a blessing, in fact, that brought new life. So each year, when the waters of the flood would recede, leaving, of course, the fresh minerals and nutrients in the waters, which would then cause the food to grow, and spring would be a beautiful time in Egypt. Because of the waters of chaos, they celebrated the coming of the waters of chaos, bringing the new life. They call that celebration in Egypt the Arka Noah. Not the Ark of Noah, but Arka Noah. The Arka Noah celebration was the coming of the great flood that washed away the old world and brought new life, and therefore Egypt was born again. And of course, at this particular time of the monsoon rains, the moon was always in the lower quarter. The lower quarter of the moon became known as the Arka Noah. The Arka Noah, or the wet moon. In Christianity, you have baptism. Baptism is, of course, being submerged in water. Because while, as I said, Egypt was submerged in water and was born again, the ancient peoples related that when a child is carried in the womb, it is sealed in water. And that's the way you know a child's going to be born, is when the water breaks. And so, therefore, water was always associated with new life, being born. And that's why when you are converting from the evil old world to Christianity, you must be born again. You are baptized. It's actually a very ancient motif. All that we find in Judaism and Christianity, there is virtually not one concept, belief, or idea expressed in Judaism or Christianity. Not one. That cannot be traced back many, many times to many different religions. It's a very old, ancient story. It's the greatest story ever told.